Hi yogis. Welcome to the 11th sequence in yoga from bend over backwards. This sequence is a sequence of seated postures, and I want to describe to you what's required of the floor of the pelvis and of the abdominals. Let's call the floor of the pelvis the sits bones, just for the sake of this particular sequence. In a sense, we have to allow the rug to be tugged out from under us in seated postures. I'll show you what I mean. I'm calling the blanket a rug, and placing the blanket, I sit like this with the legs extended forward. The legs are stretching. If I pull the blanket out behind me like this, the effect is to take the sits bones out behind me. You can see how the sits bones went sliding this way as the legs went sliding forward. Let's look at that from the front body. Here, again, I'm sitting at the front edge of my blanket that I'm calling the rug, and I'm holding the corners of the blanket as the chest is lifted, and I'm pulling vigorously, and as I pull, see how the chest pivots forward as the sits bones move back. The chest isn't collapsing, it's lifted, but it's pivoting forward. If we say the pelvis is the fulcrum, the chest is doing this, and if my elbow is the sits bones, they're moving out behind me. That's a key action in these seated postures. Let's see how they come together. In this sequence, I have a belt, blanket, also I'm calling it the rug, 2 foam blocks, and a chair. While I folded my mat, I want more access to a slippery floor. I use my foam blocks as support for sittings. If the hips are tight, 2 foam blocks should do it. This much support should do it. If the hips are not particularly tight, maybe in sequence number 10 you were working on the hip sockets, then you could likely get away with the equivalent of 1 foam block. I'm going to show with 1 foam block and set this foam block to the side. Sitting with my back toward the wall, I take the hands and tug the buttock flesh back. This has the effect of the rug being pulled out from under me. I join the feet. I've rolled the mat in such a way that the heels are slightly higher than the toes. This posture, known as Baddha Konasana, stretches the inner thighs, right here, right the way out to the inner knees. And it allows the outer border of the thighs to release toward the floor. It's a strong exterior rotation. From here, I clear space around me so that from here I can stretch the right leg away, stretch the left leg away. When I work in this way with Upavishta Konasana, I'm looking that inner and outer knees are stretching down evenly, that the center of the heel is supported on the floor, that the toes of the feet are lengthening away. My fingertips beside me, I push down with the arms and lift the chest. Upavishta Konasana, roll the mat, Baddha Konasana. Upavishta Konasana, sits bones out behind me, sliding the feet together, Baddha Konasana. You can do that several times and more vigorously than I'm showing. This, 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 back and forth, just warming up the legs, freeing the hip sockets, engaging the muscles of the legs, and working through the inner leg to the inner heel. Then, the legs stretch forward. I'm going to take the mat and lengthen it away from the wall and bring my chair in now for the next poses. Foam block goes away. Mat stretches away from the wall. Chair faces the wall. And once more, I'm sitting right toward the very front edge of the chair seat, like this, and judging the distance toward the wall such that the heel pad and the whole flat of the foot can come to the wall. My chair is a little bit close, so I'll just give a little push out behind me. The legs are slightly separated. Now the back leg is stretching. The hamstrings, back of the knees, calves, Achilles, stretching. My hands reach back for the chair. I'm turning the fingers back and coiling my fingers over the chair. I lift the chest. This is a variation of Dandasana. The thigh muscles are firm, the legs are stretching long, the chest is lifted. Here the abdominal muscles are gathered in toward the spine. They're engaged in seated forward bendings. From here, with the knees bent, standing now, coming up, I turn the chair around. We have in the studio, as you see, these backless chairs. You might not have the benefit of this structure, this kind of chair. But if you do, you can do this pose. Turning the chair directly around, holding the chair for support, I stand through the chair, and then sit back on the chair. Here I'm judging my distance from the wall. Oh, there it is. I can get the flat of the foot to the wall, and the foot is, I would say, just about the height of the chair seat. Both legs. Now, I have to use the chair to press down with the hands, squeeze the heels toward the chair, lift the chest. Again, Dandasana. Then bending the knees, I step down. Both of those postures are actively working the legs, also working the lift of the trunk. Coming out of the chair, the most conservative way, let's say, would be one by one, taking the legs out and stepping out of the chair this way. Or, if you're used to stepping out of chairs, you can simply tilt the chair forward, tuck it down to the floor, and step out of it. Either way, you're going to continue to use the chair. Now the chair seat is facing. I'm going to sit on one of my two foam blocks, facing the chair, bringing my blanket and my secondary foam block close to hand. I hear the tinkle of the belt buckle there, so the belt is also with me. Sitting on the foam block, I pull the rug out from behind me, but I'm using my hands. Here I'm pulling that sit bone out behind me. Pulling that sit bone out behind me. You might have noticed how from the hip sockets, the chest can lift up and come toward the chair. Here, I'm pulling the chair close enough to me, but not too close, that I can just barely reach with my fingertips to the top of the chair. Some of you may have heard me tell this story over and over. It's one of my favorites. When I'm driving and I see a little white head in the car in front of me, looking under the steering wheel and just barely over the dashboard, I realize if that person did yoga, they could lift the trunk, lift the spine, lift the chest, and they could look over the steering wheel and have a much better view of the road. Here I'm looking up and over the chair, but my arms, my hands are pressing down into the chair to lift the trunk. I'm stretching the heels away from me, firming the legs. This is Dandasana. For the next posture, Upavishta Konasana, I free the chair, step the legs wide, see that the legs are stretching evenly away. I have my foam block, I have my blanket on the chair seat. I check to see, are the heels stretching away? Are there any little gaps or windows between the leg and the floor? more? Can I get the calves to stretch away? Can I stretch the inner and outer knees down evenly? Am I on the center of the foot? If all of those things are true on both legs, then I reach up. Here the arms are lifting the trunk. I'm reaching up, looking up and forward, and just barely catching the top of the chair so that I can lift the chest even more. Both legs are working very strongly. Both heels are reaching away. I've pulled the rug out beneath me, sits bones are out behind, and now the abdomen draws into the spine and up. The pubic plate lifts, and I stretch the chair just a little further away. Fold both forearms on the chair, rest the brow. Here I can determine, and you can too, how far away the chair can go. All the while, the chest is lifted, the spine is long. Don't allow this to happen. Where the upper back is hunching away from the body, the head is dropping. This isn't helpful for the upper back or for the neck. Be sure that the spine is lifted and you're working the muscles of the spine to maintain that lift. The legs are actively extending away from each other. The brow is rested. Upavishta Konasana. To come out. Lift the chest. Gather the inner knees directly up and stretch the left leg under the chair, but bend the right knee out to the side and bring the right foot to the inner left thigh. Again, check to see. Have you pulled the rug out? Has the flesh and bones of the floor of the pelvis moved back? If they have, that's exactly what's needed. Here, the bent knee can ease back toward the wall, depending on the freedom of the hip. Then the right hand stretches up, the whole right side of the body lifts, and I'm aiming for the left side of the chair, and I just caught it. And then I turn the trunk from right to left. There's a big stretch from the back body to the fingers of the right hand. The whole right side of the body is turning to the left, and the chest is lifted. And then I release that clasp, gather the right knee in to extend the right leg, reach inside. You can see I've got my favorite book with me, Mr. Iyengar's Light on Life. It inspired me. I bend the left knee, I take the left foot, and now this is a further movement in this posture. See if you can do this. Turn the left foot so the top of the foot comes to the floor and the top of the shin. And then ease that left leg back toward the wall so that this angle becomes an obtuse angle. I'm no geometrician, but I know the difference between a right angle and a more open angle. Now, I'm facing the chair. I've got the chair facing me, my right hand is supporting me, the left arm is stretching up, I'm looking toward the right side of the chair and reaching fingertips to the top of the chair, turning the trunk from left to right, stretching the right leg away. This action of turning the trunk brings the breastbone in line with the center of the right thigh. And then I release the clasp, scoop the bent knee forward, and extend the legs. Again, check to see, did you pull the rug out? If not, do that. Make sure the sits bones are out behind, and then facing the chair, bend the knees. Left knee to the left, right knee to the right. Feet are joined. And I'm looking to see, oh, the thighs are higher than the hip crest. I'm not sitting on enough support. So I bring my second foam block in and check to see when I join the feet, can the thighs release below the hip crest? Yes, they can. My chair is in front of me. Initially, Just to help me release the thighs, I press the palms into the chair and lift the chest. And then as I exhale, I drop the thighs toward the floor. Each time I breathe out, there's a release of the thighs. Exhaling is a releasing action, not just for the body, but for thoughts as well as feelings. Coming forward, if you can. You can push the chair away. Reach for the sides of the chair. Lift the chest. You'll determine the height, if the height of the chair is appropriate for you, such that you won't have to drop the head, or worse, drop the chest. Here I can see I'm going to need some support on the chair seat. I'll get my blanket. And I'll roll it up, starting with the open edges so it stays rolled. Place this wool blanket at the front edge of the chair, like that. And then, folding my forearms, I rest my forehead. Baddha Konasana, coming forward, head rested. Spine long, chest away from the floor. Each exhalation, releasing the thighs a little bit more toward the floor. And then, when I get to the extent of my effort today, I just stay, breathing in softly and slowly, breathing out softly and slowly. And as the body releases a little more, I notice I can move the chair just a little bit further forward, like that. Baddha Konasana coming forward is a wonderful way to work with the hips, with the thighs, with the lower psoas. To come out, just lift the head, gather the bent knees towards you, and bring them together. And just step the feet back towards you, holding your shins for a moment. Push the feet down, lift the chest, like this. Yogis, I want to show how using the chair can help us take the next seated posture. I'm sitting at the front edge of the chair. Knee joints over ankle joints. Left leg remains in its place. Chest is lifted. The right leg is folding under the chair, and I'm reaching that right foot back so far that the knee and the shin come down to the floor. Here again, the stretch is coming through the inner thigh, through the lower psoas pathway. And then very slowly I drag the foot forward and pausing to stretch the foot, pausing again to stretch the foot, pausing again to stretch the toes, and then set the foot down. Let's look at the second side. Leg reaches back, thigh lengthens down, shin presses down, foot and ankle press down, chest is lifted. Slowly, I drag the foot forward and pause. Drag and pause, drag and pause. Ooh, drag and pause, toes are stretching, and then set the foot down. When we stand from the chair, now let's see if we can sit between our feet using those actions. Chair goes away. 2 foam blocks are here, but truly, yogis, you can use any amount of support between the feet. I'm just choosing to show with 2, but you could have a stack of foam blocks, blankets, hardcover books, you name it. You can have whatever support you need. Here's what it looks like from the back. As I bring my feet against the foam blocks, you can see that the foam blocks are squeezed by the feet. See how the thumbs stretch the calf muscles away from the back of the knee, and how we sit between the feet. I notice that I just have to ease my foam blocks a little bit forward. Here, it's an opportunity again to free the toes and to roll the outer edges or middle toe side of the feet toward the floor. I'm just leaning back to do that. It brings me on the top of the foot a little more. Now I'm going to show it from the front. Here the foam blocks are in their place. I'm squeezing the foam blocks between the feet. You saw that. Here, the knees are joined. My thumbs are stretching the calf muscles straight back from the knees. I'm sitting between the feet. What's very important here is the position of the knees. The knees have to face directly forward. If they're turned in, then I'm overstretching these ligaments and understretching those. So to prevent that, see how the left hand is inside the right thigh and it's turning that right thigh out and the right shin comes under. Now the knee is facing directly forward. Left leg. Inner thigh up, turning out, knee forward. Knees are close together, feet are pointing straight back. This pose is called Virasana, which translates as the hero. Just sit upright in Virasana and gather the abdominal muscles in toward the spine. This action mystified me for the longest time. It's not pulling the navel into the body or sucking the gut in, to put it in more crude terms. It's not that. It's below the navel. This area of the abdomen rests wide, and then it's guided back into the body. Gita Iyengar referred to that area as the center from which all energy radiates in the body. We could think of it as the solar plexus, or the center of gravity, or just the center of the body. We're sitting in Virasana. From here, we'll stretch the left arm up, and it crosses the right thigh. You can see the arm as a lever. The right hand stretches to the floor, and we twist from left to right. Here the spine is lifted. The left side of the body is coming toward the breastbone. The right side is pressing, stretching away from the breastbone. The head is turned. And then coming forward with the head, the right side of the body stretches by means of the arm lifting up and crossing. And now the turn is coming from right to left. Here the liver on the right side is being stretched. The whole digestive system is being stretched and squeezed, massaged, we could say. And then the head comes forward, the arms come with us. We take the knees wide now, and I'm going to take one of my foam blocks out because I know that I can still sit on the remaining foam block, and I don't always want to depend on two foam blocks. I don't need to, so I set one aside. Props are not meant to become crutches. They are a means to achieve a feeling of the pose, and as the body becomes more and more able to take the pose, the props are less necessary. Here the knees are wide, the sits bones are out behind me. I'm stretching the arms forward, looking down. The spine is long, the side body is long, and then the right hand comes in place of the left hand. The left hand comes beside the hips, and I'm turning the trunk from right to left. Parshva, Adho Mukha Virasana. Back to the center we go. Arms are stretching, not just from the shoulders, but from the sides of the rib cage. Head is looking down, back neck is long. Left hand comes where right hand was, right hand beside us, left hand stretches away, head is resting, trunk is turning left to right. Then, hands come back to the center. We find we can do a little bit more, body's releasing, sits bones are pressing down, we're looking down, some might find the forehead can rest to the floor. And then coming out, the hands walk back under the shoulders. We tuck chin to chest and roll up through the spine and come upright. Here to come out of Virasana, hands come down. I step the right foot forward. I step the left foot forward. Hands come to the hips. Legs are firm. And we're standing. For Shavasana today, The blanket will come for the head, the neck, and the shoulders. The chair will come, and you've seen calves on the chair before in Shavasana, but this is calves off the chair, which gives a different experience to the release of the inner thighs and through the hip sockets. We come into the pose in the same way. Sitting sideways to the chair, we swing the calves onto the chair, but they don't stay there. The feet hook toward the chair legs. I'm not actively clutching the chair legs with the feet, they're just in their position. Feet are relaxed. And then seat toward the chair, onto the elbows, buttocks toward the chair. I push with my hands. Top of the buttock to the chair, still on the elbows, lumbar spine long, chest and head resting. Tilt the skull, remove the specs, extend the arms. This way now, with the calves off the chair seat, gives release to the inner thighs, which stretched a lot in Baddha Konasana, Upavishta Konasana, Janu Shirsasana, Paschimottanasana, all the poses you did. This area now releases. The buttocks are wide away from the sacrum. The skull is resting into Shavasana. All is well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Take that with you into Shavasana. And stay, maybe 10 minutes, just softening, releasing the body, finding the quiet, smooth breath of Shavasana. Allowing whatever insights that flash through the quiet mind to come. The big questions come up in Shavasana sometimes. Who am I? What am I doing with my life? Those big questions require quiet so that we can hear them. Just let yourself stay quietly into Shavasana. And before you come out, without opening the eyes, guide the calves onto the chair. Just take this moment. And then, one by one, embrace the knees. Releasing the buttocks muscles. And then maybe both knees can come in. We can do a gentle side-to-side movement. We're massaging the sacrum, the top of the buttock, the low spine. And then we'll tip completely onto the side body. The head is resting on the upper arm. The eyes may be open or closed. Just taking this moment to release the spine into this position, and then pressing the top hand into the floor beside you. Look down. Let the second hand come down. Let the hands walk towards you. Let the head rise. And sit. Sit in any way that you can with an upright spine. Just take this moment to look inward again, to see the state of mind, the state of the breath, the level of energy. And then gather the palms together and draw them straight into the heart. I'm bowing to you, yogis. I'm bowing to my son, Shane Murphy. I'm bowing to my teachers who have given this way.